The views and opinions expressed on this program do not reflect the company, owners, management, staff, clients, or partners.
Welcome to Bermuda's Daily Talk Show. It's the Daily Hour.
ChatGPT did become the world's most downloaded non-gaming app.
Literally the job of everyone in government to address the media and the public.
What are your thoughts, audience? What are your thoughts on Zandy Silva as the deputy PLP leader?
A community that can't feed itself is a community that...
What you may not know, though, is that Bermuda, we have a connection with Epstein, too.
Things that people are doing right, the youth are doing right, that is not being advertised enough.
When you see your access to U.S. dollars disappear, that's when you have a problem.
If you've got a town in the UK with a similar sized population, this place absolutely outshines it.
It's Tuesday, the 14th day of July, 2026. Welcome to Bermuda's Daily Talk Show. This is the Daily Hour brought to you by the BAC Group of Companies, HSBC Bermuda, Medical House Lenders, People's Pharmacy, and big love to Hot 1075 for ensuring that we can pump through the radio airwaves with these most important community conversations. I'm Jamal Hartman. How's everyone feeling today? How's everybody feeling? It is Tuesday, or as the old Bermudian folks used to say, Tuesday. Yeah, it's Tuesday. Second day of the traditional work week. Hopefully everyone is up, ready, and good to go. James Burgess says, good morning to the Daily Hour team show. I'm watching again, and welcome to your guests. Have a wonderful day. Big up to yourself, James Burgess. Thank you for joining us once again. Folks, it's a big show today. We've got a lot to discuss. But greetings, everyone, and thanks for making us part of your daily routine. How can I put it? Can Bermuda fix its prison system? Well, we go inside the government's reform plan today. The Attorney General and Minister of Justice, Kim Wilkerson, the Honorable Kim Wilkerson, stops by to discuss. The Daily Play is a remember when. Yeah, remember when. So don't forget to subscribe on our website, thedailyhour.com. Follow us on all of our social media channels to stay up to date with all that we have going on. Help us grow beyond the mic as we do our part to continue to improve our community. Also, Christmas in July on the Daily Hour continues today. Big up and congratulations to yesterday's winner, Suzanne Ingham. She got a VIP car wash at Auto Solutions. Stay tuned for today's hashtag so that you too can be a winner. We have many prizes. We have more prizes from Auto Solutions. We've got prizes from Bermuda Trivia. We've got People's Pharmacy. We've got Bermuda Pest Control. We've got Lindo's. And we may give you a cup match ticket or two. So you want to make sure you stay locked in, and we want to thank you and reward you for supporting us. All right. Well, folks, hey, I went to see the Clyde Best transforming the beautiful game, the Clyde Best story last night. And I'll share my thoughts on that a bit later. So remind me to share my thoughts on that. But I have much to say. Always a pleasure. As you all know, Mr. Best has been a guest on this show. I'll probably have him back sometime, but it was really, really good seeing Mr. Best last evening and watching the documentary. I will say, because of conversation I've had with him and just through my reading, personally, I did not learn that much that I did not already know. For me, there was a lot of things that people did not know about his story. And there were some things that I didn't realize that. But I will share my thoughts in depth a bit later in this show. So stay tuned for that. Suzanne Ingham says, good morning, Jamal. Go out and conquer your Tuesday. I'm excited to be in the TDH house. Great morning and wonderful to have you back, Suzanne. Some people win things and never come back. Claire Warner says, good morning, Jamal. Good morning, Bermuda. Glad to be in the house. We are glad to have you. Great morning to you, Claire Warner. Folks, here's your question of the morning. What more can we do? What more can Bermuda do to protect seniors from abuse? Yeah, this is a bothersome conversation we're about to have this morning. And again, you can follow along. I have shared the monologue on thedailyhour.com. But for years, I said that there are three groups in our community. We have a special responsibility to protect at all costs. Our children, our seniors, and people living with disabilities. They are among the most vulnerable in our society. But for the purpose of today's discussion, I want to focus on seniors. Recently, I followed a case involving a married couple, both lawyers, who were convicted of financial crimes against elderly people who trusted them. I'll be honest, it made my blood boil. These are people who spent decades working and saving, sacrificing, and planning so they could enjoy their retirement years with some peace of mind. Instead, they found themselves being taken advantage of by people they believed they could trust. What's even more disturbing is that this isn't the first time. Over the past 2 decades, Bermuda has seen several cases where people in positions of trust have been convicted of financially exploiting seniors. Whether it's professionals, caregivers, or people entrusted with managing someone else's affairs, these cases leave many wondering whether we're doing enough to protect some of the most vulnerable members of our community. That led me to read through the Seniors Abuse Register Act 2008. And while I agree with much of it, one section really caught my attention. The act says that someone convicted of abusing a senior can be placed on the Senior Abuse Register, preventing them from working as a care worker or managing or owning an institution that cares for seniors. I don't think many people would argue with that. But then I noticed something else. The act allows someone to apply to have their name removed from the register after 3 years. Now, if someone's conviction is overturned on appeal, that makes perfect sense. But simply becoming eligible to apply after 3 years, I find that very concerning. Now, I believe in rehabilitation. I believe many people deserve second chances. But I also believe some offenses deserve a much higher level of scrutiny because of the breach of trust involved. Financially exploiting an elderly person isn't simply stealing money. It's taking advantage of someone who may be physically vulnerable, mentally vulnerable, or simply trusting. That's a very different type of offense. So I found myself asking whether 3 years is really enough time for someone who has abused the trust to be considered suitable again to work around seniors. Maybe the registrar ultimately decides not to remove someone from the register. The law does require consideration of the seriousness of the offense, the ongoing risk to seniors, and the person's suitability. But should someone even be eligible to apply after such a short period? These are important questions for us to consider because our seniors have a right to feel safe. They deserve to know that the people caring for them or managing their affairs have earned that trust. And if we're serious about protecting vulnerable people, then maybe we need to ask whether our laws go far enough. And folks, this is just my interpretation based on what I read. And we do have the Minister of Justice and Attorney General, Kim Wilkerson, on this morning. And I'll ask about this, even though that's not what she's here to discuss, because maybe I'm interpreting the act wrong. But that's your question of the morning. Think about it. Share your thoughts. We'll come back after this short break and we'll discuss it.
People's ACW, located at King Edward VII Memorial Hospital, carries over-the-counter medicines, toys, cards, and even toiletries. Our knowledgeable staff are there whether you're at emergency, visiting family, or a member of BHB staff, to show you our best even when you're feeling your worst. People's ACW, we're here for you.
Alrighty, folks, you see the question. What more can Bermuda do to protect seniors from abuse? And here's your poll question for the morning. Should someone be eligible to come off the senior abuse register after 3 years, right? Right now, as the act reads, after 3 years after conviction, someone can apply to have their name removed from the seniors abuse register after 3 years. That's concerning to me. If you're just tuning in, basically, I was following a case recently where a husband and wife duo, both lawyers, were convicted of financial crimes involving seniors. Look, seniors are among Bermuda's most vulnerable citizens. Financial abuse can be just as devastating as physical abuse. Abuse comes in from all positions in various forms, especially when trust is involved. These recent convictions have reignited my concerns. Look, maybe this is an extreme comparison, but folks, there are people who go to prison and end up on a registry for sex offenders, right? Now, as far as I know, and I can be corrected, I don't believe you can apply to have your name removed as a sex offender. So why is that option there for senior abuse? I mean, I get it. They're very different crimes. We have an aging population. And before we become seniors, if we are blessed or lucky enough to become seniors, we need to tackle this. Because, that case, let's use that most recent case. It was a long case. It was all in our faces in the newspaper. I don't remember seeing many people throughout social media talking about it. We talk about everything but stuff like this. And it concerns me. And that's why I love waking up to do this show. We're not going to ignore important conversations like this. I don't care how many bottles are being served this weekend at whatever party. There are things that supersede, as in terms of importance, the next opportunity to drink and party in Bermuda. And our seniors should be top of list. And here's the thing, folks. There's been a number of cases through our courts and convictions. But these are just the ones we know about. What about the ones we have no idea about? Something has to be done. Well, what are your thoughts on the poll? Should someone who's been convicted of senior abuse, should they be eligible to come off the senior abuse register 3 years after conviction? 1 for yes, 2 for no, 3 for depends. Because I think putting in depends is fair. This is your daily discussion brought to you by Titan Express and Secure. We've got Suzanne Ingham says 3 years is definitely not long enough. Okay? 3 years is definitely not long enough. Charles H. Jeffs II says, I do wonder how many applications are approved, who or what biddy gets to decide. Hopefully there is a high bar for approval. I agree. We must do everything we can to protect our seniors. Now, I believe the act, Charles, let me just bring it up. So Removal of register 6.1 says the register shall remove a person's name from the register if the registrar is satisfied that A, the conviction in respect of which the person's name appear in the register is quashed on appeal, which again, as I said earlier, if it's based on appeal, I'm fine with it. Or B, the person who does not have any other conviction in respect of which his or her name appears in the register. 2, a person whose name appears in the register may make written application to the registrar, A, after the expiration of 3 years from the date of the conviction in respect of which his or her name appears in the register, to have his or her name removed from the register, or B, at any time to correct, add, or remove information that appears in the register. 3, the registrar shall, in deciding an application made by a person under subsection 2A, take into account A, the nature and gravity of the offense for which the person was convicted, B, whether seniors are at risk of being abused by the person, and C, any other factor relevant to the person's suitability or lack of suitability to be responsible for the care of seniors. 4, notwithstanding subsection 3, the registrar shall refuse an application made by a person under subsection 2A where A, the minister has prescribed requirements for the rehabilitation or persons whose names appear in the register, and B, the person has not satisfied those requirements. 5, I'm going to stop there. You see where I'm going with this. There are exceptions. There are exceptions. But honestly, folks, this is your daily discussion brought to you by Titan Express and Secure. If you're just tuning in, we're discussing basically, there was a recent court case where a married couple, both lawyers, were convicted of financial crimes involving seniors. Seniors remain among Bermuda's most vulnerable groups. Financial abuse can be just as devastating as physical abuse. These people have worked their lives, entire lives, to enjoy their peace in their later years. And to have that ripped away from them by greed and selfishness, it's just not fair. But we're talking about the senior abuse register that protects seniors from known offenders. But is it really doing its job if offenders can apply to have their names removed 3 years post-conviction? Is that fair? How would we feel if a sex offender had that option? Ask ourselves these questions, audience. You're quiet on this one today. You're very quiet on this one. Here's the poll. Don't forget the poll. Should someone be eligible to come off the senior abuse register after 3 years? 1 for yes, 2 for no, 3 for depends. Let us know your thoughts. WKD Lama says, how about never? They should find a new profession. See, I thought I was harsh in thinking like that. Because I do believe in second chances. But you do have a second chance if you're not in prison. You have a second chance to go and find another career, another profession, as you mentioned, WKD Lama. We should be angry about this as a community. We should be extremely angry about this. We should be upset about this. And these are the kind of issues. We have a leadership election taking place in the Bermuda Progressive Labor Party right now. This, if you're going to make a public campaign, stop the marketing and promotion. Sit with people and let them drive the conversation. Let them ask the questions. These are the things that these gentlemen should be discussing with you. These are the questions that you should be asking. You know, majority of this audience, well, not majority, but a large amount of this audience are seniors. And I value them and I appreciate them. And when I say I love them, I do, because without the seniors who support this show, we wouldn't have some of the younger folks watching, their children and grandchildren, and tuning in. And I am not just saying this because you're watching, but you all have done your work. You've done your work. You've paved the way for us to turn a blind eye and act like county game this weekend's more important. Cup match coming up, my camp's more important. We have to stop waiting till things hit us on the doorstep to start caring. We really do. Yesterday, and I want to send love. I think I can say people's names to the folks in the audience, who the person who helped me find the act, but also to those who I do send the monologues to, who correct stuff, my writing. Sometimes, I'm not the greatest writer. They may correct a little grammar here and there, right? But I want to thank you all, because I didn't know how to write this and maintain my composure. Meaning, as I even said to the minister prior to coming on, like, I don't want to name names. I went through cases, folks. I would encourage you to look up the number of cases. This has become a norm in Bermuda. And again, we're just talking about the ones that are reported. Yeah? This has become a norm. We've got to do something about it. We have to do something about it. This should not be the norm in our community. I've spoken to someone in government, and they said, Jamal, this happens more than you may think. It makes me angry. It does. It really, really makes me angry. And what makes me as angry as the abuse taking place is the fact that we as a community don't seem to care enough. Why? Because we're listening to music right now, bouncing to lyrics that are more harmful than helpful to our community. Let's go to the audience real quickly. We've got another important conversation coming up with, and I want to say this. For years, I was working in organizations, and people will tell me they were dealing with stuff with certain lawyers who have been on trial and convicted now for this kind of behavior. For years, people would tell me, and I had no clue. Folks, your comments are very long, so I'll probably not put them on the screen, but I'll read what I can. Suzanne Ingham says, my son had both of these lawyers for 2 cases. We were told several times that it was pro bono. Then they took half of my son's compensation money. This present case is simply the proof that they thought they could get away with it. My concern is, how many more people have they done this to that have not reported it? It's disgusting to do this to seniors. I'm a senior. Don't mess with me. Shana J23 says the act as a whole was woefully inadequate. Those in the profession have been begging for amendments for years. We've got Mark Arthur says, so true. I was just talking to a senior this morning and she loves TDH. I appreciate that. We do. Brendan Thompson, okay, I'm going to read it from the site. Says, good morning. This is 2026. Those abuses on the elderly in this time and before has never been really looked at. The agencies that should be protecting against senior abuses is and has been failing. No teeth to these agencies, all talk, no action. Senior abuse registry is based on status, class, friends, and family ties when it comes to punishment. This template is used throughout all our judgments. That's why it seems so biased when it comes to who gets what in terms of punishment here. That is sad, and I really, really hope that's not the case. Audience, I hope, look, the monologue that I read this morning, every day I'm going to do my best to put the monologues on the website. You can continue the conversation right under there. You can share it with your family and friends. We have to move these conversations beyond the radio, beyond this show. I don't want to hear about one of our seniors who watch this show and support this show having to deal with this. I don't want to hear about one of you having to worry about your mothers, your grandmothers, your friends, your godmothers, your aunts, your uncles, whoever, having to deal with this. And that means that we have to do something about it. Nicole Walker says, good morning. Outer financial abuse is a major concern. In the majority of cases, it's someone known to the victim. Education and oversight for those entrusted with managing the finances of a senior are key. Absolutely. How many times have the Bermuda Police Service sent out these phishing scams and the like, speaking about seniors? This is something that is dear to my heart. And I was trying not to mention my nana, but my nana is bedridden. My nana has had Alzheimer's for about a part of 8 to 10 years now. This is dear to my heart. My uncles and aunts are seniors. My father's a senior. I couldn't imagine taking advantage of people who love me. It's sick. And it's concerning that after 3 years post-conviction, people can apply to have their name removed. Folks, we got to end the conversation. K.S. Frank says, lawyers and liars, the general public needs to be protected with better legislation. We've got Charles H. Jefferson II says, I have a problem with one person being able to make this decision. Bermuda is a relatively small jurisdiction, and we need to ensure that decisions are being made with the best interest of the community. We've got James Burgess says, it's too much of this issue going on, elderly folks being robbed by their children and others said situation. And we've got Shana J. Smith says that statement is completely inaccurate. Don't know which statement she's referring to. She says, I encourage everyone to read the act for themselves. Senior Abuse Register Act 2008. What? Not sure which statement, Shana, if you could let us know. And we've got Nicole Walker says, if you have a family member managing an elder family member's finances, review bank statements on a regular basis. Yes, one person should never be in charge. If you have a lawyer, folks, protect your elders. Make sure the lawyer's doing everything. 100% of you have said someone should not be eligible to come off the Senior Abuse Register Act after 3 years. 100% of you. I'm going to ask one more question. Do you think once someone is on the Senior Abuse Register, it should be permanent? Do you think it should be permanent? Just a yes or no in the audience, folks. We're going to show some love to Tighten, Express, and Secure. Please feel free to continue this conversation. You can go on the website, scroll down on the home page, scroll down and under the monologue. You can write your comments, but we have to allow our government, our leaders, they have to know how you feel about this. They have to know about this. Trust me, you can still enjoy the next party or Connie game or cotton, whatever you do, you can enjoy it, but do not ignore the things going on in your community that are hurting people.
The daily discussion is brought to you by Tighten Express and Secure. Tighten Express delivers safe, professional, and reliable transportation and tours across the island. From island tours to cultural expressions, they set their standard. And Secure is your go-to for property management, waste management, and residential and commercial services. Visit securebda.com. Professional, punctual, and reliable service is their commitment to you.
And audience, if you have trouble finding the monologues on the site, we just send us an email, engage at thedailyhour.com, and we'll send it to you. But again, feel free to continue the conversation. All right, it's time for the days of the year. Today, it is Mac and Cheese Day, folks. So I want to ask you all, mac and cheese used to be one of my favorites. But I gave up direct dairy January 1st, 2018. So I want to ask you, who makes the best, the most delicious mac and cheese to you? Who makes the best mac and cheese? Come on now. Now, my niece, she's 3 years old, and all she eats is macaroni. You go Chick-fil-A, macaroni. You go Popeyes, macaroni. Wherever you go, macaroni. Macaroni. I'm like, she gonna look like a macaroni. Italians don't eat as much macaroni as my niece. But anyway, who makes the best mac and cheese? All right, we've got Shana J says, my sister. All right, Shawnette Sumner says, me, I make the best. We've got Kathy Sumner says, I do the best. You know what I like? You all are saying, I do. I make the best. So I'm going to ask you, I miss mac and cheese. I loved it like when it's well baked in the pan and stuff. We got my cousin Debbie Butterfield, Nicole Walker. So hopefully that's my cousin too. Can y'all make it with like fake cheese, like some cashew cheese or something, so that I can have some? If we can make, have it like that there, we'd be good. We got Polly Rich says, yes, child abuse permanent. So should the register for elder abuse. All right, real quickly, folks. So I wanted to share with you before we go to break and bring the Honorable Minister in. So I did attend the Clyde Best story last night, the transformation of the beautiful game. And I want to share my thoughts because people have asked me. And I may write a Substack as well on it. But here are my quick thoughts on the Clyde Best story. As mentioned earlier, I did, because I've been able to read and we've had a conversation with him, learn a lot about his story. So a lot of things I was familiar with, but there were a few things that I didn't know. But here's what concerns me. There was a lot of progress made. Clyde Best represents progress. But something that stood out to me was, while there is now 43%, according to the documentary, Black players, Black and brown players in the Premier League, coaching and executive level still only represents 4%. And as I said last night in the Q&A after the documentary, many people in this space, many people tuned in right now to this show, are going to walk into a job today. They're going to walk across boardrooms where no one looks like them. You're going to walk into companies where the owners don't look like you. But those companies will say, oh, we're very diverse. We have 90% Black people. But we're not in decision-making positions. I share this because while I appreciate the progress that documentary showed, it really highlighted how much further we have to go. And a friend of mine, we were arguing years ago, he said, well, we don't have to fight anymore. Our parents and grandparents did it. And that's the problem. Our parents and grandparents made us believe that we can be comfortable until the rug's pulled from under us and we have no job. Folks, if nothing else, that documentary was not a reminder just of how far we've come. It was a blueprint to show us how far we have to go and how we can get there. I'll leave you with that. I'll write the rest in a Substack article. Let's take a quick break. We'll come back with the Honorable Minister, Attorney General, and Minister of Justice, Kim Wilkerson. Stick with us. Do not go anywhere.
Guess what? Bermuda's most popular game is back. That's right, Shoe Buy is back in stores. But wait, there's more. The brand new Shoe Buy Summer Edition is here too. Bring the laughs, the vibes, the friendly chaos to your barbecues and summer get-togethers with Bermuda's favorite game. Don't miss your chance to get yours. Visit BermudaTrivia.com and follow Bermuda Trivia on social media to learn more.
One lucky bucks in the summer edition has a golden ticket with the chance to win a grand prize courtesy of One Communications.
Hi there, welcome to Medical House. We're located at number 6 Bakery Lane. I can't wait to show you all of the great stuff that we carry. Come on inside, let's see. Long days, long shifts, you no longer have to endure comfortable underwear. Designed by nurses, we now offer premium undergarments by Swoop that are unique, fun, comfortable, and functional. The only underwear you'll ever want to wear. Who says high-quality functional products can't be stylish and comfortable at the same time?
See it all at our new expanded location on Bakery Lane.
Discover Drop It, your go-to grocery delivery. Browse and select from a wide range of groceries, from fresh produce to daily essentials. Our friendly drivers deliver fresh groceries to your door fast, saving you time and hassle. With Drop It, you get fresh groceries delivered fast, so you can focus on what really matters. Drop It. Freshness at your doorstep. Delivered to your door with Lindo's. Why go anyplace else?
Class of 2026. What's your next chapter? University overseas? Bermuda College? Or your first job? HSBC Bermuda can help you start strong.
Now that's what I'm talking about.
Open an HSBC Bermuda bank account and receive a $100 gift card from a local retailer or Amazon.com. And every successful referral receives a $50 reward. Hurry! This limited time offer ends July 31st. Apply online at hsbc.bm/nextchapter, and within 2 business days, an HSBC team member will guide you through the final steps. Terms and conditions apply. HSBC is licensed to conduct banking and investment business by the Bermuda Monetary Authority.
You want to come get some? Playing around, playing around. I got it, no doubt.
Ever taken medication and thought, why is this hitting me so hard? Or why isn't this doing anything at all? Here's something you may not know. Your body processes medication the same way it needs to process food, using enzymes. And these enzymes metabolize medication so it can be converted into its useful form or removed from your body. Pharmacogenetics looks at how your DNA influences the way your body metabolizes or breaks down medications. It helps explain why a drug that works well for one person causes side effects in another and barely works at all for someone else. That means the same pill at the same dose can feel very different from one person to the next. It's not about blame, it's not about doing something wrong, it's simply biology. And once you know what works best for you, medication decisions stop being guesswork and start becoming personalized.
Welcome back to the Big Show. Jamel Hartman here. This is the Daily Hour brought to you by the BAC Group of Companies, HSBC Bermuda Medical House, Lindo's, People's Pharmacy, and big love to Hot 107.5 for ensuring that we can pump through the radio airwaves with these most important community conversations. Folks, don't forget to subscribe on our website. Follow us on all of our social media channels to stay up to date with all that we have going on. Help us grow beyond the mic as we do our part to continue to improve our community. All right. Without further ado, please, let's give a warm TDH welcome. It's not her first time, but we are always excited and happy to have the Honorable Minister, the Attorney General, Minister of Justice, Kim Wilkerson. Greetings, Minister. How are you?
I'm good, thank you. I'm good, Jamel. Great to be back on the Daily Hour.
It's a pleasure to have you. Before we get into the meat stuff, I got to ask you, it's mac and cheese day. Are you a mac and cheese person?
I do like a little mac and cheese, but I'm on the where you are, right? Trying to get off the dairy.
Okay.
And so trying to think of more creative ways to make it. But it's hard because I'm telling you, the cashew milk alternatives, you know it, right?
They're not that great. Someone actually, it was a Jamaican pop-up truck when I lived in South Florida. And it was the only, I don't know what they use, but it was the only time I ever enjoyed vegan mac and cheese. It was delicious, but it's hard to find.
Yeah.
It's hard to find. Well, Minister, thanks once again for stopping by. Again, it was strictly a coincidence, our discussion from this morning, but I feel the need to ask you about that conversation. And you heard the conversation, you saw how people felt about it. Can you add any value to what was discussed this morning?
Sure. First, let me say that legislation is dynamic. And I think that one of I find clearly as the Attorney General, I'm responsible through chambers for shepherding all of the amendments to all the laws, right, through our drafting section. And when I say people should view legislation as dynamic, that things that are said in a piece of legislation that you quite rightly say is 2008 could be ripe for change. And this isn't lost on members of the legislature. So there are ongoing reviews of the legislation, and so that's to say the way things are, it doesn't necessarily mean that that's how they have to be. And you always talk about the kind of responsibility of members of the public to inform things that they want to see changed, and that is a responsibility that the public should take seriously, particularly around things like senior abuse, things that matter. But what I do want to say is that let me weigh on the question first, and I think your question very specific about whether 3 years on the register and the eligibility to be taken off, whether that's fair. I think it is fair because it just is the lower end of a person's ability to apply. It doesn't mean they'll be granted it. And for people who have a lot of experience in the senior space, we know that allegations of abuse can come from all kinds of levels, and some of those levels, there could be a finding of abuse, but the actual activity could be in some ways part of a pattern of being accused. I know, for example, someone whose father is in a facility near me. And this gentleman, because of issues with advancing dementia and other things, is calling the authorities every week saying that the people in the home are abusing him, right? And so there has to be a balance to be had when we understand the kinds of issues that are concurrent with aging, right? And so I think that is the reason that where there could be a specific finding of abuse, that we have to just look at, I think broadly at how allegations could arise. And I know the test case that you were leading with was around the kind of the lawyers in that space. So there are a lot of things that could happen in that space, because people who are in a fiduciary position who are subject to license, in addition to potentially being on the senior abuse register, they're also potentially looking at being disbarred. If you are a CFA or a chartered accountant, having your license revoked. So there are a number of different levers if you are in any kind of licensed profession that could come to bear. So I think, and you've read the legislation very well. I was pretty impressed, right?
I was wondering if I interpreted it.
Yeah, no. I mean, you're reading it. You're looking at there are a number of levers that need to be considered before a decision might be made about taking a person off the register. So I'm having a view that our seniors are precious, right? I'm nearly one. So, right, like soon come on my next birthday, right? Which I can't believe myself, right? And certainly, I want to be in that other category of care. But we do understand that there are a lot of stressors around caring for seniors as well. And you could have a family member who just simply isn't having their best day, right? But they're still responsible for that care. So I'm saying that there is a broad continuum.
But they only go on the list for convictions, not allegations, correct?
Yes, but I'm still saying that a person could still be convicted.
Fair.
Right?
Fair. No, makes total sense.
Right, because and they're kind of having the worst day, right?
Yeah.
So I'm saying that there's a whole range of offenses to, I think, the worst of the worst kind of things that you were leading your story with, to things that are on the lower end. And I'm not saying that anybody should get a pass, but I say that we should have a framework where there is the ability to consider that whole range and move accordingly. I think that's
I want to share this because I think it's fair to your point. Someone that I shared the monologue with yesterday, they had an elderly parent that had dementia, and they said, I get this and I agree with you. But when their mom was diagnosed with dementia, she became violent and kind of sympathized. So it's interesting that you kind of literally said the same thing as this person, and I appreciate it. I think it's fair, and I think what the minister is saying, folks, is just not making an excuse for poor behavior. She's trying to get us to understand circumstances are not all. It's not like a one situation, all thing, and I think that's fair. And this is why the experts come on. They help us understand and calm us down.
But it is a big issue. And so the other thing that I wanted to say was that we refer to this piece of legislation as SARA, right? The
I think the minister's frozen, folks. I think she's frozen. All right, let's give her a chance to come back. She may be frozen, might be having some internet trouble on her end, but I think what she's saying is very fair. And again, as someone said to me yesterday, it depends on the state of seniors when it comes to different kinds of abuse. Although the focus for me this morning was on financial abuse, her point is very valid. So I don't want people to take it as if she's sympathizing with people who are just done some horrible things to our seniors. And Jay Minor says should only be on there if it's serious, or maybe give it levels. Okay, so like different levels of senior abuse, you're saying. I believe that's what you mean. Jay Minus, I think that's what you mean. But again, audience, this is a conversation that needs to carry. It needs to carry. And I look, there are a lot of people who are working with seniors doing a lot of great work. They have to, they're looking out for our seniors. It's their profession. They are doing the work, and they need our support. It's not an easy job. It's not an easy job. And, I think my heart is pulled when it comes to this, because, we don't want to admit it, but yeah, when you hit 40, your uncles, your aunts, your parents, they become seniors, right? And you don't want to know that someone's taking advantage of them. Technology changes, situations evolve. Let's bring the minister back in. Minister, sorry about that. You were just saying the SARA Act. It cut you off when you said the SARA Act. Yes.
Yeah, sorry about that. Yeah, I was saying the Ministry of Justice is working very closely with Ministry of Social in the Aging and Disability unit to help to format the new legislation around the Office of Public Guardian. And I think that there has been a lot of public concern around that. And certainly, I will be talking about this in the Senate tomorrow. So not to preempt that, but to let people know that we understand the importance of this, but it's really, really complicated work in that we talk about seniors who maybe have assets, but they don't have family members who are willing to help them manage the assets. So they may be overly reliant on lawyers outside of their family. What protections do they have for people who maybe not even seniors, but there are issues with mental capacity, and they may have assets. So we need to have the legal frameworks to enable that help to happen. So we've identified the problem very well. I think the Senior Abuse Register is one step. It's not the whole step. And what I've been, I'm so happy that you raised this today, and it's like your musings. What I have noticed is that there are always people who have expertise who are prepared to help. And so there are lawyers who work in this space, who may be financial planners, who may be in wills and estates, who are saying, I can see these problems where, for example, there are children who serve to benefit from the assets of a parent who's elderly, but they're not providing that parent with the necessary help that they need, right? And so, senses of entitlement. And when we have interests that are not aligned, who can step in and help, right? So these are very complicated issues from a legal perspective that we're trying to get under with the Office of the Public Guardian. And some of it overlaps with
But
Sarah. And so we've been very intentional about trying to be certain that we see the limits of one piece of legislation and its gaps and how it might be covered in what we're building now.
But I think what I'm getting is we are closer than the conversation not happening. Like the conversations are happening. And that, I'm going to be honest, audience, you may say it's just words, but that's what it takes to get things past words. And I that makes me happy this morning, knowing that I was discussing this and we were engaging and discussing it, and the conversations are happening. So that gives me a certain level of comfort. And hopefully, soon we can have the Honorable Minister. I believe that falls under Minister Tanae Furbert.
So Minister Tanae Furbert is responsible for aging and disability. So Sarah, Senior Abuse Register Act, is under her. But the Office of the Public Guardian, because it entails so many, such a legal framework, it is legally enabling people, for example, to be able to be a receiver of a senior's assets. So that is why it is under the Ministry of Justice. Yeah. But the ministries are working collaboratively because we have to understand, this is why I really appreciate you raising this topic, fully understanding what the problems are. And because the Ministry of Social and Seniors had the foresight to set up the register, we have the data, right, that informs what should happen on the legal frameworks.
Yeah. Wow. As I echo Charles, he says, sounds like you need to have her back on to discuss this. Yes, indeed, because we have an entire different conversation to touch on. But thank you so much for your response, for tuning in and listening to the conversation earlier, and actually providing the insight that you just did. Because again, as I say, I'm here to drive the conversation, but our goal is to bring the experts on, the people with the knowledge and the information and background to actually kind of settle the discussion. So thank you for that insight, Minister. But let's switch gears, because there's a lot taking place in another area. There was a recent review of the Department of Corrections, and it highlighted a number of significant concerns. What do you, Minister, see as the report's most important findings?
Ooh, that is a tough question. There are a lot of findings in the report. We have 77 recommendations. And if there is, I suppose many of the findings were not things that surprised me in a sense, because we have people who are clients, right? They're serving time, His Majesty's pleasure. And those people are living it. So they're able to say these things don't work. But I think the additional problems around how do we set up optimum staffing? This is the kind of thing that, we've had to have experts come in and assist us with that part of it. Because when I look at it, I'm like, there are only like 127, we have 177 odd people incarcerated in Bermuda between 3 facilities. So that's between Westgate, between the prison farm, and between the co-ed. And if you think of a population of 60,000 people, it's not a lot, right? Feels like it shouldn't be an insurmountable problem to get fixed, right? And then I think about, okay, well, how many staff do you need to properly service that? And I'm like thinking, I come in there, right? Come from a corporate kind of background. Well, you can't need double that amount of people to run a facility. So what I've learned is that even the layout of our maximum security facility makes it such that staffing staffing needs to be high because of the layout of the facility, the ability to move even clients from one portion of the facility to another requires manpower that in a more purpose-built facility could be more efficient. So there's some things that we are maybe stuck with currently, but we just completed a review of the facility itself. So we had an overseas company come in who were specialists in prison infrastructure to actually look at all of the facility, because the works minister has said, you know what, could we be throwing good money after bad if we fix this facility? Maybe there is another solution. Maybe you have to start afresh. So there are all of these big issues under consideration. But at the same time, some things are long fixes, and we have to think about the things that we could immediately do to make the lives of our clients. And we do, back to the prior conversation, about, coming off the register, right? We have to believe that rehabilitation is possible.
But let's talk about that though, because, modern corrections is about more than just incarceration. Rehabilitation is at the forefront. How does the government plan to better prepare inmates for successful reintegration to society while they're still serving their sentences?
Absolutely. It's important. And I got there and I had to own that clients were saying nothing is happening here. I'm like, what do you mean nothing's happening, right? And if you can imagine, if, I say this often, I cannot believe that anyone plans when they're, 12, 13, when people start to think about what I want to do in my life. No one plans to have a future in Westgate. I don't think there are any, Westgate is a male facility. So I'm saying I can't imagine that there are little boys growing up thinking, I really aspire to be a gangster, knowing that that could be my end place. Right? Something's happened along the way, right? And so we really want to be getting to the why of antisocial behavior, but we also need to be finding the value. And there's some, clearly there are going to be some people who it's very, very difficult to rehabilitate. But on the most part, people want to be valued and they want to do something productive. And so the first step in finding out what that could be like, and it's been everything takes longer than I thought it would take, but it's a long process of actually gaining trust so that clients are able to tell someone that they trust what's really going on with them and what their, kind of heart's desire is, what their skills are, what their capabilities are. I got to this seat and, people would remember during the budget process, you read these, you get given data on performance, right? And there's these performance indicators. So I want to know, okay, programming. How many people are able to take a GED program? And the statistic would say, in the financial year, 24 to 25, 19 inmates took a GED program. So first of all, I'm wondering, okay, 19. And then it would say 3 completed. So the obvious question is, that's not a great outcome, right? Is anybody asking the question of why? And so from a personal perspective, I'm dyslexic, right? And I didn't find out, get a proper diagnosis of my dyslexia until I was in law school. And when it is suggested that you might have a learning difference, right? I want to say a learning difference rather than a disability. Your natural reaction is to resist it. Mine was, I was like, no way, I'm not getting tested for that. You're not saying, I've been to Berkeley, I got 10 GCEs, I've been in the top 10 of my class all the time. Well, you suggest I have a learning disability. But then I had to kind of step back from myself and consider, why people who I trusted, who were able to understand about my capabilities, said, "Yeah, you got X result, but I believe you should have got Y." So I really am inquiring as to why that is the case. And so that same level of care that I got at law school, we should be delivering that to people who are in our care in the incarcerated population. So I started to question that.
I like
Are we
that.
examining whether people have barriers to learning? Are we examining whether or not somebody could read? We expect them to take a GED. Did they ever, right? Maybe that learning disability and not being recognized is one of the factors that put them on a path to ending up on this road, right? But that work is not quick work. It is not quick work. So I'm really grateful that we have had Ajala Omedele inside doing the Sankofa Educational Empowerment program. It's called, we refer to by the acronym of SEEP. And this is delivering literacy through reading, learning, listening, poetry, identification of who I am as a person. But through that programming, our clients have been able to build that rapport. So while Mr. Madali is delivering this programming, he's also been tasked with carrying out what we've called is a kind of a questionnaire, right? Which gets to a person's learning ability. So he is really lucky to have him because he's not only just a literacy specialist, right? He's able to identify because he teaches young people who have learning differences as a tutor in the private sector. So he's able to identify early whether people have learning challenges. And this is why you haven't been able, you might not have even put your hand up for a GED program because you have problems reading.
Yeah.
So we've got to do, we've gone about doing early identification of those things and coming back with the data. So the thing is, you could put all kinds of programs in corrections, right? They could come from the outside, and there are many people who say, I have a program and I would like to deliver it. How do we know what people need?
Right.
How do we know what they want?
Yeah.
How do we, because you can't be on the outside saying, I have a program and I believe that this would be successful and I believe this is what. And we have, I often ask people, do you have some proof of concept? How do you know? Who did you ask?
I don't want to take away from what you're
Yeah.
saying, but it's like the example I gave yesterday to people about tourism. It's like Bermudians, we think we have the answer to what tourists want, but we're saying it from over this side. We haven't done any research to see what travelers want, right? We just know what we like in Bermuda. And I think using that analogy here is like, you can't just say, well, I can come into prisons, do this, then the other. You don't know their education level. You don't know what their understanding of what is. I actually appreciate what you shared this morning. I think it's helpful.
Yeah, and it's not, I wanted this done in I want it done in 30 days. And the thing is, someone who hasn't learned to read, they've been frustrated, from 9.
Yeah.
A stranger's not going to come in with a pad and say, okay, tell me about your history. And they're going to open up and say it, right? So I have to step back and recognize that, the kind of truth that we need, we only get that through trust, right? And trust isn't built overnight. And I also had to accept that, there clearly wasn't a level of trust already, right? And so that is an example. So talking about, programming. So one of the things that I'm really excited about is our opportunity to do some inmate-led programming.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, because it's like, I'll tell you, I was up at Westgate one day and I'm walking around And, when I'm there, they say, Miss, people on the side conversation, Miss, I want to tell you something, Miss, this. And then other people saying, oh, Miss, this is so-and-so. This guy's a drywall specialist. Yes. Oh, Miss, this is so-and-so. This guy, this is an expert painter, right? And when I first took on the role, I was like, why do we have works can get done, right? But we have people who have skills and talents, right? Why would we not engage them to do the work? So then we have to learn that you have to build incentives to get that engagement as well, right? Guys are not going to want to go and do work, for $1. They want to do work when they understand that we value what they can bring, right? And then we get them to do the work. When they've done the work, they're going to have pride in the work that they've done. And there's less likelihood that there's going to be disrespect for the property if they've had a hand in it, right? So yeah, go ahead.
I just want to let the audience know, I know there are a lot of questions, comments coming through. We'll get through to them. I just want to let you know we'll get to you in a few. Go ahead.
Right. And I'm looking at the time. So you know what? You're supposed to ask me about 8 questions. But anyway, this is how we go, right?
I want to switch gears though, because
okay,
this
go ahead.
Surprise no one in the audience is asked yet, but there was a report the other day about a prison officer, corrections officer, involved in a situation where he was charged. Now, staff working within the Department of Corrections face demanding and often difficult circumstances. Speak to the support and training and structural changes that are being considered to improve morale, recruitment, retention, and overall leadership within the department.
Yeah, this also is it's complicated, but I will say, and I'm glad you led with that, Jamal, that this is demanding work, and certainly one of the areas the staff, and we're understaffed. That's a whole another thing. So this has been a huge frustration of mine, that we cannot get people who want to come to work in corrections. And then I question that. I peel it back. Is it that we can't get people to come and work, or are there barriers to our recruitment process that people who might be willing and able can't get through? So there's some things that we've had to consider. For example, the physical. There are people who they're in the recruitment lane, but maybe they failed the physical exam. Well, they should be given another opportunity to pass the physical exam. Is this something that's not? We treat things as hard stops, but they could be things that are curable. So I'm really, really pleased that the Prison Officers Association has actually made those suggestions, because these recruits will come into their ranks and they recognize that, someone could come into the program, and their ability to pass some of these exams could be done over a period of time, or they could have a second opportunity, or we could look into why people aren't passing and try to provide some support. So that's on the recruitment lane. We need more people in. On the support, things like mental health first aid, we recognize that's critically important. Because just like I said about a senior who might be suffering from dementia and those impacts, you could have clients who have mental health issues, and an officer might not immediately recognize that what they're displaying could be the result of a mental health crisis or kind of an ongoing issue. So we need to have early identification of that, and so that training is ongoing, and we recognize that kind of training has to happen more regularly for officers. That's an example. There was an article in the, I'm not sure if it was in the News or in the World Gazette, on 2 officers who are in leadership training and they've had an opportunity to talk about, they've been to the UK as part of a longer term leadership training program. It is an example of how we're trying to build capacity within. But at the same time, some of it is challenging when we're understaffed. Yeah.
Alrighty. I want to speak about this Friday. The House is expected to debate the Justice and Community Safety Reform Act 2026. One of its key proposals is the introduction of investigation and witness anonymity orders for certain serious cases. Why does the government believe these measures are necessary, and how will they strengthen the administration of justice while protecting the rights of the accused?
Thank you. So that piece of legislation had three parts. So one of them is around protection of judicial officers, prosecutors, where there have been threats and assaults, which have been publicized already, and we would have heard from the DPP, the senior magistrate Maxine Anderson, around the real threats and assaults and attempted assaults on those people. We can have the course of justice perverted by people threatening judicial officers. Another part of it deals with the Bail Act. But the part that you're referring to is a part that I think has been most topical. It will be in the House on Friday. And the reason that we have moved forward with this is that people will know that in many of the gang-related type cases, prosecutions have been quite low, and people have been low to come forward, right? In Bermuda, people have been low to come forward to be a witness. Now, we recognize that these two, witness anonymity and investigation anonymity, are just tools. It may be in the context of Bermuda, right? And this is one of the kind of the feedback from criminal bars, that people probably feel like in Bermuda, everybody knows everybody's business. Is not going to help. It may not, but it doesn't mean that we shouldn't try. And so earlier I talked about, legislation being dynamic. And the thing is, because you think there's going to be opposition to something, it doesn't mean we shouldn't try, because there may be that witness who says, I believe this protection, for example, disguising my voice, not being in front of the court, delivering my evidence in a way that I feel protected, might be a way that I'm prepared to say what I saw, and this could result in a conviction. And it is important to me, I mean, obviously as a member of the legislature, but personally because the mothers of some of these victims come to my office and they say, Minister, my son was killed, 10 bullets to the back. There's CC camera footage. There were, there were 4 defendants. There was no conviction. What are you going to do about this? And it's very, very hard, to sit, across the table from a mother such as that and just say, right? So this is all to say, there's no, kind of, forgive the pun, but no golden bullet here, right? But we have to just enable every tool in the toolkit so that we can try. And this is what I'll say about that. People would have read the article in the paper a couple of days ago in relation to the double murders right near me at Fort Scour Park. And those mothers, really putting out a call saying, don't forget our children's names. We haven't had the conclusion of an investigation, a successful prosecution, anybody being brought to justice for those murders. But we know that there are people who know what happened.
This is very true. I want to go to the audience. Charles H. Jefferson II says, does the minister believe there is sufficient mental health treatment for those incarcerated? If so, is there a provision for that treatment to continue post-incarceration to avoid recidivism? That word, you know.
Yeah, I absolutely love this question. And so I would say the delivery of mental health support has been challenging because we are down a forensic psychologist. So we have to, one has, moved on to other opportunities. So we have to be thinking about how do we deliver consistent service with the challenges on staffing. And it may be that we do some tele support already, but in my view, and certainly what I'm getting from those incarcerated is that it's not enough. And we have to own that and think about how we're going to do it. But I love that the question asks about what happens afterwards. So members of the public would have seen, and I delivered a ministerial statement on the opening of Astor House. So that facility is for those who are incarcerated who are on parole were subject to some license conditions. And some of those license conditions might require ongoing counseling. And because of how that facility is going to be joined up in services, we are able to provide that continuum on the outside. And this, standing up Esther House is it's a test and a testament to understanding that rehabilitation must go beyond the gates, and it's part of the violence reduction strategy. It comes directly out of it, but understanding that people who've left incarceration need a lot of support, and we cannot expect people leaving incarceration to simply go into the world and be on their own 2 feet and suddenly avail themselves of the ability to get a job, find a place to live, and also be responsible for their own kind of support, particularly if that support involves mental health counseling services. So we're starting just with 8 beds because that's what that facility is, but it's going to be a way that we can really, there's an information management system at Astor House that we can really get those supports and get the data around how we're tracking people when they leave the facilities.
Another question from the audience. Michelle White says, Minister, please speak to work readiness of inmates being released.
Man, I love that question. So in the Astor House setup, there is a component which will examine work readiness, and we have been working with the Transitional Community Services (TCS) because they do a work readiness component, and so it is work readiness has to happen before people are released. And so we have to look at work readiness prior. We are running a program from the farm through Public Works, where candidates are able to go to work. And for a little while that was stalled, to my frustration and also to the frustration of the Minister of Public Works. But happy to say that that is now up and running. And so, we're all going that, but there's a recognition that we need to have earlier work readiness even before people get to the farm facility.
Indeed.
There may be other questions, but
yeah,
Jamal, I have a hard stop. Only because, with everything I played, I had the nerve to cover for the Minister of Sports. And so I have to make a dash to the airport to meet our gold medal volleyball team.
Minister, we totally understand. We'll end it here. Just real quickly before you head out, what does success look like for these reforms? How would we measure what a meaningful difference looks like? What does it look like by the time it's all said and done?
Yeah. I mean, the big reform, right? In my world means that we have less people going to the doors, so there'd be less pressure on a Beyond the Gates program. And so I'm teeing myself up for another visit. So I do want to come back and maybe together with Franco Harris to talk about the youth justice, right? Juvenile justice reform, right? So we really have to be starting at the beginning, right? And so we want to talk about that. But, measures that we're going to be looking at really around corrections reform will be the standing up of the programs, how many participants are in the programs, evaluation of the programs from those taking the programs, right? We're going to be looking at training of staff, right? And the deliverables on those. And clearly, people always talk about recidivism. And, there was a question that came from in the parliamentary questions that went to the House on, I've laid out this, I tabled the reform results, right? So I've tabled the report, said how bad it is. And one of the questions was, okay, have I tracked recidivism since? Well, no, I haven't, because I laid it out in May. So we only laid it out in May. So we have to be realistic when we talk about, tracking recidivism, right? And currently our measure is 2 years and 3 years, but we do need to have longitudinal studies. And looking at success is, if someone is left incarceration, how are they doing 10 years out? And we haven't been doing that.
Right.
And we also know that not going back to prison doesn't mean you're having a successful time, right? Because we're looking at things like how many people are unbanked.
Right.
If you're unbanked and you can't open a bank account, what is that doing? So just a number of things, and I've sat across from, the CEO of HSBC. He fortunately called me up and came to my office, and I'm like, the unbanked is a problem. He says, no, it's not. Our data is X. And I'm like, well, you know what? I have a different set of data, and it's from people who say they are unbanked, right? And if you are unbanked, which is, people know you cannot open a bank account, the likelihood that you probably are going to be doing some kind of work off books is higher than if you be banked, right? So we have to look at everything. We have to connect all of these dots around, it's not, recidivism is one thing, that's going back to prison, but we want to make sure that people who have been through our systems have a successful life outside.
Minister, you got to run. One last question. Cut match is in 2 weeks. Please tell us you wear the right colors this time of year.
It's not a thing about the right colors. The only colors are red and blue. Only colors are red and blue.
My goodness. Minister, have a wonderful day.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you so much.
Thank you so much. And thank you to your audience. Always, the audience is so engaged on the Daily Hour. I love this show. Thank you.
Thank you. We love you too. Talk soon.
Thank you. Bye.
Minister of the Attorney General and Minister of Justice, the Honorable Kim Wilkerson there, folks. If you appreciate the conversation, please give us a thumbs up. I love it. Like, apologies we weren't able to get to every question, but you know how it goes. Keep engaging. We'll get through to you. We're going to take a break. When we come back, Christmas in July, all you got to do is put the hashtag in the comments. I'm going to tell you what the hashtag is after this break. We'll come back. We'll wrap it up as well. Don't go anywhere.
Children love to play and have fun. And they love gifts even more, especially ones that they can enjoy and learn from. With Bermuda Trivia coloring books, kids can explore the island while they color, learn, and create. The perfect activity for fun and learning together. Available now.
Visit BermudaTrivia.com and follow Bermuda Trivia on your favorite social media platforms to learn more.
Yeah, I don't got this. I'm gonna be fast at delivery and run.
Oh, don't pay me enough for that,
Oh, no, sugar! Okay, who's the faster? Who's the faster than me? Talk to me. No more stress. Just sit back.
For over 70 years, Bermuda Pest Control has been protecting homes and businesses island-wide. We offer a full suite of services, including rodent control, termite fumigation, and general insect control and maintenance. Our team of experts will quickly and efficiently eliminate any pest problem you may have. With Bermuda Pest Control, you can enjoy a pest-free home in no time. We're committed to providing fast, reliable, and solution-driven services for our customers. It's what we've been doing since 1952. Call Bermuda Pest Control today and say goodbye to pests for good.
Dreaming of expanding your business? With BDC's Loan Guarantee Program, we support your ambitions. Get up to 75% guarantee on bank or credit union loans up to $300,000. Just your vision and our support. Apply today and unlock new business opportunities. BDC, Bermuda Business starts here.
Bermuda, there's nothing like a home-cooked meal, especially when you can feed the whole family without stretching your wallet. With the affordable Bermuda basket, you'll find savings on everyday staples like rice, chicken, corn, and more. Everything you need to make a good meal for less. Shop the Bermuda basket at Lindo's, Marketplace, the Garden Market, and the English Market. Visit costofliving.gov.bm to see the full list of goods and start planning your meals. This is a message from the Ministry of Home Affairs.
Life moves fast, and so can the unexpected. When you insure your home, you need to know that your insurance company has your back. At Friesenbrook, let one of our friendly and professional agents give you that peace of mind. Because when you are covered, you are confident. Call us at 296-3600 or visit friesenbrook.bm to learn more.
Guess what? Bermuda's most popular game is back. That's right, Shoe Buy is back in stores. But wait, there's more. The brand new Shoe Buy Summer Edition is here too. Bring the laughs, the vibes, the friendly chaos to your barbecues and summer get-togethers with Bermuda's favorite game. Don't miss your chance to get yours. Visit BermudaTrivia.com and follow Bermuda Trivia on social media to learn more.
One lucky box in the summer edition has a golden ticket with the chance to win a grand prize courtesy of One Communications.
Alrighty, welcome back to the big show. Thanks again to the Honorable Minister, Attorney General, and Minister of Justice, Kim Wilkerson, for stopping by for that conversation, folks. Just want to give a big thanks and show love to the BAC group of companies, HSBC Bermuda, Medical Lenders, People's Pharmacy, and Hot 1075 for ensuring that we can pump through the radio airwaves with these most important community conversations. Folks, it is time for the Daily Play, brought to you by Bermuda Trivia, now available at stores throughout Bermuda. Follow Bermuda Trivia on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, X, and TikTok to find out why it's Bermuda's favorite trivia game. All right, are you ready? So remember when? That means it's a bit of history today. Yesterday, we learned that St. George's player Edward Swainson was the first person to score a century in the history of cup match. Today, we're asking you, what year did he score that century? And what year did he score the first century in cup match history? Manuela, you must have cup match trivia. It was 1937. The first century in the history of cup match was scored in 1937. Nicole Walker said 1922. Yes, Sherilyn Johnson got it as well. 1937. Shawn Bell, 1937. All right, you all on form. You all are on form, folks. You see the hashtag for today. Manuela pays attention. See, pays attention. Just remembers from yesterday. You see the hashtag? That's the hashtag today. Yesterday, we gave away a VIP car wash. We have many more VIP car washes to give away, courtesy of Auto Solutions. Today, we're giving away both a Cot Match edition and summer edition of Shoe Buy. So the hashtag is Bermuda Trivia. You can just put that hashtag in. This is Christmas in July. We have many prizes to give away, courtesy of Auto Solutions, Lindo's, People's Pharmacy, Bermuda Pest Control, and Bermuda Trivia. So make sure you put the hashtag in for your chance to win today's prize. All right, real quickly, just to wrap it up. As far as this morning's discussion, maybe I got a bit emotional, very attached, but I know people who work in this space, and they have big hearts. They work hard. They do it because they genuinely want to help people. And I don't believe that, I'm not saying that we shouldn't have fun, but we shouldn't have so much fun that the reality and the struggle and the pain of others is ignored right in front of our eyes. I'll take the minister for her word that things are being done to address the very issues facing our most vulnerable. But time is not on our side. We need to get a move on. As far as the conversation with the minister about prison reform, again, you know, it is words. I'm looking forward to seeing. I may listen to the debate this Friday. I want to know what's going to happen, how people are going to be able to live better. You know, obviously, we don't want people going to prison. I think addressing someone may have asked in the audience or said it, but understanding why people end up in prison is number one. We want to avoid that. But once they get there, making sure they have the opportunity to leave and never return. Make sure they have the opportunity to learn and grow and never return. So I'm interested in how this debate goes and what Bermuda looks and feels like once it's done. All right, let's hit the spin button, see who's going to win today's prize. Christmas in July, folks. Let's see. Hit that button. All right, drum roll, police. What we got? Who is going to win it? Erin Smith. She is a day oneer too. Congrats, Erin. Make sure you send an email today to engage@thedailyhour.com. You just won a Cot Match edition of Bermuda Trivia and Shoe Buy. Yeah, Shoe Buy, the summer edition. All right, Erin, congratulations. Haven't seen you in a while in the audience, but Erin is a day one to the Daily Hour crew. So big up to you. All right, folks, let me give you some daily inspiration and then I'll let you go. So today's daily inspiration is coming from my book, The Journey Within. That's the first of the book series of 3. And it really goes like this, quote, "There's more to life than what you've been taught and told. There's more to life than what you know and how you live. Understanding this is crucial for growth," end quote. Yeah. Do with that what you will. Alrighty, folks. On that note, please don't forget to subscribe on our website. Follow us on all of our social media channels to stay up to date with all that we have going on. Again, you can go and continue the conversation, comment underneath today's monologue to keep the conversation going. Make sure we're holding our politicians accountable, making sure those words become actions, and help us grow beyond the mic as we do our part to continue to improve our community. Thanks again to our partners, the BAC Group of Companies, HSBC Bermuda, Medical House, Lindo's, People's Pharmacy, and big love to Hot 1075 for ensuring that we can pump through the radio airwaves with these most important community conversations. As always, we appreciate you, we love you, and we thank you for making us part of your daily routine. If all goes well, we'll be back to do this again with you tomorrow. I'm Jamal Hartman. Please do make it a safe and a great day. We are out. Peace.